So yeah, it's a wonderful opportunity, right, to share what I've been doing with my life for the last 40 years, and to also share the relevance of practicing Tantra, even though it may seem a bit esoteric in these times. And I think the main point that I would like to point out is that it is a very interesting and amazing system of, I think, probably the highest, as far as I can tell in studying. I mean, I don't want to say it is the only highest, but it's a very sophisticated use of the human body and mind to become extraordinary beings, something beyond our ordinary lives. And I was inspired as a young person in my 20s, in the late 70s, to find something that would bring about the consciousness expansion that's needed to solve the problems of this modern world, because our little human ordinary brains are not that capable of putting such complicated issues together that we face in the present time. And I felt that it was important to keep this system of human development with body and mind and mental consciousness, not only to keep it alive, but also bring it into contemporary language and use so that it would be available to people who were not interested in religion, but more interested in the scientific aspects. And we can see that Buddhism has really spread in the world of psychology. I mean, psychology has actually been revolutionized, and there's so much. I just was hearing on BBC Radio last night a whole show on kindness, the importance of kindness in the world. And you can take a kindness test on BBC and be involved in psychology studies of kindness. And this is all mostly due to His Holiness's interest in science, the Dalai Lama, and working with scientists to bring it into the Western world. And Tantra is even more sophisticated than that. And so I just would like to put it, it's not really, oh, this is this esoteric religion that I'm going to get involved in, but it's more like, this is the awareness, this is the keen intelligence and huge heart that we need to get through the next 50 years on this planet. And so it isn't just for our own personal benefit. It definitely will benefit the world, and it helps us along the way by practicing Tantra just to become better human beings. And so if you're interested, if you have some spark of interest, I really encourage you to find the level that works for you. I don't know how many people were at the Green Tara last week, but that's sort of a sample. And I know I took an hour and a half, but you can do it in 10 minutes. And the Dalai Lama has shared that this Green Tara practice is the practices he has recommended that we do to help the pandemic. And if we look at the news, I mean, this Delta variant is spiking everywhere, even in our little Shetland. I was just across the street, and one of the little elementary schools has been shut down because the children are getting in. And I know that they just closed, the EU just closed its borders to the people of the USA because of COVID. So we're heading into it could be another winter lockdown. And as if this is the way the world is going, then there's another reason for practicing Tantra, which is that it really helps the mind to find a space of contentment and peace and joy that is not at all dependent on the outer circumstances of our lives. And this is not to say that outer circumstances are not important. You know, we need friends, and we need purpose, we need meaning in life, and we, you know, the things that people missed in the lockdown. But it also really helps with this condition of being alone, or just to make us have more flexible, happy minds. It's a very powerful tool. And so I just feel that this time is now is even more important than ever, that things like Green Tara come into our field of experience and something that we can all do. So we don't have a lot of time, so I think that's probably enough to speak about this. And also that, just to let you know, if you are interested in doing more of these things, that I do lead a white Tara meditation twice a month, and we can give more information about that. It's slightly different, but let's just get started with just welcoming everyone, and thanks for coming back. And we'll just start with the tradition. The tradition. I mean, one of the things that I feel is important that was passed down to me from Lama Yeshe is that we need to find out what's important about Tantra, from that's the essence of the practice, but also not to be committed and have to be continuing to practice within the Asian cultural context, particularly the Tibetan cultural context, because there's a lot of Tibetan culture that we don't need to emulate, and Lama was very clear about that. But one of the things that I feel is important to maintain, and I explained this before, is lineage. The fact that there is some kind of, and I don't really understand it, I think on a quantum physics level, that there's something that happens when we connect with the minds, the consciousnesses of the beings who've practiced this before us. I think I mentioned last time, it's like tuning into the radio dial to the Buddha radio, the mind station of the Buddhas. And so that's why I have continued to do this traditional practices before the teachings. So bear with me if it's a little bit untenable for you, if it's a little bit difficult to read these prayers, but it is the tradition. And I think it helps us tune our dial to that, so that we see the blessings of the past Buddhas and the past teachers. Because, and we'll talk about teachers and guru devotion and what that's about next week. So I think that's going to be a really important chapter in these 6 evenings of talks, because there's a lot of misunderstanding about teachers. And I would just like to say that it's not so much about the physical personality and body of that being, it's more about the subtle mind of that being. And so when we tune into that, that's what puts us in the stream of consciousness that connects with all the past Buddhas of all the thousands of years. So we do that by, one of the ways we do that is doing these prayers. So we'll start with the prayers. And I think that the translators each have their own. So I will be leading the English, but the translators will be leading the language that you're listening in. So I'll go slow, because I know Spanish and Italian take longer than English. So let's just start with taking refuge. And if you recall, we've talked about what refuge means. So let's just imagine our future development, where we have realized the true nature of our minds, and that our minds are no longer bound by the emotional appearances that arise, that we have contacted our inner wisdom. And we do that through taking refuge in the outer Buddhas. So we can imagine in the space in front of us is Buddha Shakyamuni, just the Buddha. Or if you have already been practicing for a while, you can visualize your teacher. And think of that Buddha. You don't have to imagine it all, but it's surrounded by all the past Buddhas, all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and all the teachers of Tantra. And we can even include all the lineages. And they have come to be with us today. And so we imagine them in the form of the Buddha in front of us. And then we also imagine our father on our right and our mother on our left, and all our friends and family around us. Because connecting with other beings opens our heart. And we open our heart to ourselves and others, and there is the doorway into our inner being, our inner mind is through the heart. So just take a moment to do that. Becoming aware of our breathing, bodies. Settling into that experience of the whole body, mind as one. And remembering a time, a space, a situation where we feel comfortable. And imagining as we breathe in, we're breathing in the blessing of the Buddha. It's allowing our minds to settle and become more open. And feeling all the pores of our body kind of opening up so that this pure wisdom, blissful energy of the Buddhas is coming in, pervading our whole body as we inhale, releasing us from all the concepts of this and that. I'm this and you're that. He did this and she did that. Just moving into the deeper realm of awareness and love. And as we exhale, this energy, this subtle form of mind, subtle mind and wind, goes out and touches all the people on the Zoom together tonight so that we can form our virtual circle of connection and protection. As if we are encircled by a golden sphere. And then once we're all connected in our virtual sphere, we can imagine that it too has little pores, and from that it radiates out and touches every single sentient being. And that by doing that, they have an experience of comfort and ease and joy and healing. There's so much anxiety now in the world. We just imagine that as we breathe in, our minds and bodies become peaceful and healed. And as we breathe out, it goes out and touches first all of us together, and then together as a group, goes out to our countries and our planet. All the places where there's so much, the floods and the fires and the wars, and not just the human beings, but all the beings. And making a strong wish that whatever I can do to heal myself and others in this very lifetime, may that become clear to me. And may there be no obstacles to realizing my fullest potential in this life, with the ultimate aim of attaining enlightenment. And so this is why we are taking refuge, generating bodhicitta, and spending the next hour and a half together, or an hour and 15 minutes together it is now. So let's just start the prayer now. We'll do it 3 times. We'll do it 2 times in our own language and 1 time in Tibetan, just to honor where it comes from. I take refuge until I'm enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By my merits of generosity and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit transmigratory beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By my merits of generosity and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit transmigratory beings. Sangye chodam sogi chonam la jang chu badu dakni kyab suchi dagi jen soki pe sonam ki Drola panje sange drupa sho. And I just like to say that this is the most important prayer. If you only do 1 a day, if you just want to do this and say some Tara mantras, enough. I think Tibetan Buddhism is, for some people, the outer covering of it is a little bit daunting, the cultural difference. But the point is that if we can persevere with its cultural trappings and get to what Lama used to call the real chocolate, or the real benefit inside, then we can shed the cultural trappings. But until we get to the true experience of enlightenment, the true experience of wisdom and compassion, we don't really have any way to get there except by going through what's tried and true already in one culture. So if we can understand that, then we can go through the culture until we get to our own inner core of being, and then we have the freedom to shed, what's culture and what's not culture. But until then, it's too dangerous to think, oh, I'm just going to take what I think, what is good for me. You know, I like this, so I'll do this, you know. So I think we have to be a little bit patient. And as time goes on, it'll become more and more clear, you know, as more and more people gain realizations, then what's true Dharma will be, it'll show itself. So that's why we have to do these practices with sincerity, because if we do them with sincerity, then the path will become clear and will be shown to us through our own interconnectedness with the lineage. So one of the ways that we clear away the obstacles to getting to this clarity is through the practice of the Heart Sutra. And we have to remember that people have been doing this for like at least 2,000 years. So what we're connecting with is a very ancient, tried and true. That's why it's more like a science, because it's been done many, many, many times. You know, if you do this, you get that. And it's not like, you know, everyone who comes along makes up a new path. You know, it's like, it's not open to interpretation so much like maybe the Bible is, you know, because there's a lineage. So let's do the Heart Sutra. I prostrate to the three noble, rare, sublime ones. Thus did I hear at one time the Bhagavan was dwelling on a mass of Vulture's Mountain in Rajgir together with a great community of monks and a great community of bodhisattvas. At that time, the Bhagavan was absorbed in the concentration on the categories of phenomena called profound perception. Also at that time, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara looked upon the very practice of the profound perfection of wisdom and beheld those five aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Entered the power of the Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra said this to the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, the Arya Avalokiteshvara: how should any son of the lineage train who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom? He said that, and the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara said this to the Venerable Shariputra: Shariputra, any son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom should look upon it like this, correctly and repeatedly beholding those five aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Form is empty. Emptiness is form. Emptiness is not other than form. Form is also not other than emptiness. In the same way, feelings, discrimination, compositional factors, and consciousness are empty. Shariputra, likewise, all phenomena are emptiness without characteristic, unproduced, unceased, stainless, not without stain, not deficient, not fulfilled. Shariputra, therefore, in emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no compositional factors, and no consciousness. There is no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no visual form, no sound, no odor, no taste, no object of touch, and no phenomenon. There is no I element, and so on, up to including no mind element and no mental consciousness element. There is no ignorance, no extinction of ignorance, and so on, up to including no aging and death and no extinction of aging and death. Similarly, there's no suffering, origination, cessation, and path. There is no exalted wisdom, no attainment, and also no non-attainment. Shariputra, therefore, because there is no attainment, bodhisattvas rely on and dwell in the perfection of wisdom. The mind without obstruction and without fear, having completely passed beyond error, they reach the endpoint of nirvana. All the Buddhas who dwell in the three times also manifestly completely awaken to unsurpassable, perfect, complete enlightenment in reliance on the perfection of wisdom. Therefore, the mantra of the perfection of wisdom, the mantra of great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the equal to the unequaled, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering, should be known as truth, since it is not false. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is declared: Taya cha om gati gati parasana gati bodhisoha. Shariputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva should train in the profound perfection of wisdom like that. Then the Bhagavan arose from that concentration and commended the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara, saying, well said, son of the lineage, it is like that. It is like that. One should practice the profound perfection of wisdom, just as you have indicated. Even the Tathagatas rejoice. The Bhagavan having thus spoken, the Venerable Shariputra the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, Arya, Avalokiteshvara, and those surrounding in their entirety, along with the worlds of gods, humans, asuras, and Gandharvas, were overjoyed and highly praised that spoken by the Bhagavan. And now the prayer for getting to clearing obstacles. From the holy supreme realm of Kachara, you who possess powers of clairvoyance and magical emanation, look after practitioners like a mother looks after her children. To the hosts of the Dakinis of the three abodes, I prostrate. We recite the mantra 21 times. Akasamarata Shadara Samaraya Pe. Akasamarata Shadara Samaraya Pe. Taya Gati Gati Perigati Perasam Gati Bodhi Soha. By the teachings of the noble, rare, sublime ones possessing the power of truth, may hindrances be averted. May they be illuminated. May they be pacified. May all enemies and negative forces opposed to the Dharma be completely pacified. Shantapuri Soha. May the hosts of the 80,000 obstacles be pacified. May we be free from harmful conditions to Dharma. May all excellences be in accord with the Dharma. And may there be auspiciousness and perfect happiness here right now. And now to review the long rim. The path to enlightenment, the foundation of all good qualities. The foundation of all good qualities is the kind and perfect pure Guru. Correct devotion to him or her is the root of the path. By clearly seeing this and applying great effort, please bless me to rely upon the Guru with great respect. Understanding that the precious freedom of this rebirth is found only once is greatly meaningful and is difficult to find again. Please bless me to generate the mind that unceasingly, day and night, takes its essence. This life is as impermanent as a water bubble, remembering how quickly it decays and death comes after death. Just like a shadow follows the body, the results of black and white karma follow. Finding firm and definite conviction in this, please bless me always to be careful to abandon even the slightest negative action and accomplish all virtuous deeds. Samsara pleasures, seeing that this is the door to all suffering, they are uncertain and cannot be relied upon. Recognizing these shortcomings, please bless me to generate the strong wish for the bliss of liberation. Led by this pure thought, mindfulness, alertness, and great caution arise. The root of the teachings is keeping the Patimoksha vows. Please bless me to accomplish this essential practice. Just as I have fallen into the sea of samsara, so have all mother transmigratory beings. Please bless me to see this and train in supreme bodhicitta and bear the responsibility of freeing transmigratory beings. Even if I develop only bodhicitta, but I don't practice the three types of morality, I will not achieve enlightenment. With my clear recognition of this, please bless me to practice the bodhisattva vows with great energy. Once I have pacified distractions to wrong objects and correctly analyzed the meaning of reality, please bless me to generate quickly within my mind stream the unified path of calm abiding and special insight. Having become a pure vessel by training in the general path, please bless me to enter the holy gateway of the fortunate ones, the supreme Vajrapika. At that time, the basis of accomplishing the two attainments is keeping pure vows and samaya. As I have become firmly convinced of this, Please bless me to protect these vows and pledges like my life. Then, having realized the importance of the 2 stages, the essence of the Vajrayana, by practicing with great energy, never giving up the 4 sessions, please bless me to realize the teachings of the Holy Guru. Like that, may the gurus who show the noble path and the spiritual friends who practice it have long lives. Please bless me to completely pacify all outer and inner hindrances. And all my lives, never separated from perfect gurus, may I enjoy the magnificent Dharma. By completing the qualities of the stages and paths, may I quickly attain the state of Vajrayana, of Vajradhara. So then we'll do a mandala offering. And since we do this in all different languages, maybe I'll try, I'll chant it in English, and the other translators, you do whatever you like. Don't care. Oh, the ground is blessed with sand and with flowers strewn, adorned with Meru, the 4 lands, sun and moon, transformed as a pure land and offered. May all wandering beings enjoy this Buddha land. All those objects of my mind's 3 poisons, coveted, friend for one, stranger, body, wealth, worldly pleasures, without a feeling of loss, I surrender. Receive them, please, and free all beings from their bondage. Please, precious Guru, please bless my mind and the mind of all sentient beings to be free from all the wrong views, to gain all the realizations of the path to enlightenment, and be free from all obstacles and hindrances. Idam Guru Radha Mandalaka Niryatayami. Okay, here we are. And today was the day we were going to work on, or share a little bit about working with the body. And I think I've already made it quite clear that what separates Tantra from Sutra is working with the subtle body. And to work with a subtle body, we need to work with our physical body. And one of the things that Lama Yeshe really stressed to us was to take care of your body. And I know that a lot of people, maybe not so much now, but I've heard a lot of people go, oh, Buddhism is about the mind, it's not about the body. But that's just wrong view. If you don't take care of your body, you can't meditate, you can't help other sentient beings. And so I really encourage you all to investigate, if you don't take care of your body, to why, what are the obstacles? What inner voices do we have? What have we enculturated by growing up that says taking care of your body is egotistical, or it's wrong, or it's, it's too self-indulgent, and but it's just not true. So what I'd like to do today, I didn't make a handout for this, and those of you like Veronica and Gloria who've been doing meditation with me for a long time, it might be familiar to you. Maybe I can't remember what I've done with Celiana, but yeah, so I might have even done it at the Getting Droop Indian Droop Center before. But anyway, it's a very simple meditation, and it's not from Tibet, it's actually from Chinese medicine. Because like everything in Tantra, we talk about outer, inner, secret. suchness levels of practice. And so with the body, it's the same. We have our outer flesh and blood body. And one of the things that Buddha taught when he taught Tantra, that actually this human body at this time is the best vehicle for practicing Tantra, if we are able to practice. And I've mentioned before that the Tantra uses the bliss, the blissful consciousness that pervades the body to meditate on emptiness. And that's what allows us to have the concentration, because when we're happy and we're not focused on the future and the past, but we can be right in the present tense with concentration, then we can begin to develop these higher powers that will be of benefit to others. And so to get to, for the subtle body to open up, the physical body, I mean, not necessarily, I mean, you see great lamas who aren't in good physical shape at all. You know, a lot of Tibetans have diabetes, high blood pressure, because their bodies were not evolved, you know, they're not adapted to the world that Tibetan lamas inhabit, you know, flying all over the place. And they didn't even have sugar in Tibet, you know, it was very rare to eat those kinds of foods. And so these are kind of modern ailments. But because of their inner practice, they still have incredible practice. But I think for us, it's harder to get there if our physical bodies are not so, if we don't eat right and exercise. So that's just one level. But then there's the subtle body, and what I've learned, you know, there's the very subtle body that is the completion stage that works with the central channel and the chakras. But then there's a little more gross body, which is the ones that Chinese medicine works with acupuncture meridians. And so this exercise I'm about to lead is more related to that. And Qigong, which are ways of making the body, the physical body, more pliable and more able to open to this subtle body. Because what happens is, particularly because we've grown up in schools and desks and with a lot of, you know, kind of emotional conditioning, that when we try to do these more advanced practices, because our subtle winds are kind of blocked, we begin to feel these blockages. So that's why when most of you have done tantric classes with me, we always incorporate some Chinese movement exercises, because they begin to open up these subtle movements, so that then when we do the more inner energy meditations, we have more success, and we also have experience. It's easier to feel the bliss when the channels are open. And so so we're going to do a meditation right now, and then we'll see where we get to after that. It'll probably take about half an hour. So so everyone get comfortable. I really don't mind if you lie down, if it's more comfortable for you to lie down. And before we do the meditation on the organs, and by the way, this meditation I found to be very helpful for me when I sit down to meditate and my mind is just completely caught up in verbal activity. You know, it's just my whole nervous system is, you know, spinning. Motoring is what Jeff says, when we're motoring, you know, because we've been busy all day and, you know, working online or you know, running around and dealing with, you know, all the ways that life is. It really helps to calm the whole mind body. But before we do that, I'd also just like to let's just concentrate on a little bit of breath work. Now we could do, my friend Yeshi does a whole 5-week course just on breathing alone, because it's so important. Our breath reflects our state of mind. That's quite obvious. You know, when we're nervous, we breathe faster, isn't it? So what I'd like you to do, and this is going to be optional, like homework for the next week, is I'd like you to, when you wake up in the morning, if you can wake up a little bit, maybe 10 minutes before you have to actually get up. So maybe set your, if you live with an alarm, get up just a little bit earlier. Or if the kind of person that wakes up in the middle of the night, well, then you can do these investigations of our breathing. Because in order to start to become aware of our subtle body, it's the first step is it's connected with the breath. And to open up the body, we begin by paying attention to our breathing. So what I just like us to do is, and maybe before we go to sleep at night, you can put one hand on your chest and one hand on your belly. And particularly this is better if you're lying down. And you don't have to do that if you can already feel, but just be aware of where the breath, what happens when we inhale. So without judging, let's just stop now and just breathe and just pay attention to how that feels inside our belly and our chest and our back. So if you notice, do I breathe into my belly first? Or do I breathe into my chest first? Am I, a chest breather or a belly breather? And if we're sitting up, we can take our hands and put them behind our lower, the bottom of the ribs. When I breathe, does my breathing go into my back at all? Are my ribs expanding in the back? Do I breathe up here? Is my breathing very shallow? Is it very deep? How does my inhale feel? Is it comfortable for me to breathe? Do I have difficulty breathing? And we can take a lot longer to explore these questions than I'm just kind of giving you the text, but then please explore, and what happens, happens in my mind, how I feel about myself if I attempt to breathe in places where I don't normally breathe. If I just breathe in my chest, what does it feel like to breathe in my belly? Can I breathe in my belly? What does it feel like to if I'm lying on the floor, or the bed, feel my back pressing into the floor, If I'm lying on the floor, how are my hips placed? Does my low back touch the back? Just begin to explore what it feels like to be in this breathing. Just play, for some time, just concentrate on the inhale and then begin to play with the exhale. What happens if I inhale longer, if I exhale longer? Just begin to explore this world of breath. And what happens if I start to imagine that the breath goes throughout my whole body, that I can fill up my lungs, my belly, and imagine that energy, that prana, that chi, that lung that comes in and fills our lungs actually also penetrates through the legs and the arms and the head. So I can begin to play with the idea of my whole body's breathing. So each one of these we can, feeling what's the body touching the floor or the seat. If I do feel blocks inside, what happens if I try to breathe into them? Breathing more into my belly, breathing more in my chest. Does it bring up any dialogue, any inner voices? Is there something to listen to inside my body that's connected to my breath? Can I get quiet enough to hear? Or do I just feel agitated? Does breathing just makes me aware of how agitated I am? Or how sleepy I am? What happens to my mind if I extend my exhale so that my exhale is twice as long as my inhale? How does that feel? And explore the other way around. And find a sense of play. Now, there's no right or wrong. We're just getting to know this inner world that will open us eventually up to a whole level of comfort and ease and clarity and joy and awareness. It has the capacity to relax anxiety and bring joy into the life. Because every mental event is accompanied by a physical prana or breath or energy. So, we could have done this for the whole hour, but I think it's maybe if you can explore this on your own. And I don't think the exploration ever ends. I mean, I still do this myself, yeah. It's a form of meditation because we are practicing awareness, isn't it? Because every meditation is about awareness and mindfulness. And so we're constantly honing our skills of paying attention to what's going on in the moment, not being caught up in the past or the present. The past or the future, but being present with here now. And it doesn't mean that it's not okay to analyze at certain times the past that's happened, to learn from it, or to plan for the future. We have to do that, but we don't need to be, we can set aside, okay, now this is what I'm going to be thinking about what happened in the past. Now I'm going to be, but planning for the future. But most of the time we're caught up there all the time. So what we're trained to do is have some I hate to use the word control because it sounds very controlling, but some capacity to be presently aware of what's happening, so we can listen to people, and listen to ourselves, and do these practices without a distracted mind. So let's now get to the meditation I wanted to share. And I think I probably have this somewhere in my laptop, so I can send it to you, Lars. Yeah. So this is, I learned this from, I can't remember his name now, but a person who was, we were doing a Chinreze course at Milarepa Center about 6 years ago. And I was sharing Qigong, and he turned out he was knew more about it. He was like a medical Qigong guy, so we did this, and we did it with movement, but I found just doing it with meditation is also good. So we're going to go through the organs, the 5 major yang organs, according to the Chinese medical system. So just get yourself comfortable with your back straight and breathing into the belly. And so the way that, and of course, we always have our motivation. We're doing this to become better meditators and better healthy people, so we can be of benefit to ourselves, and of course, ultimately enlightenment for us sentient beings. So we're going to, first of all, I don't think with this class we've meditated on hollow body yet, have we? So first of all, we need to just sit and go back to this breathing idea, or not idea, but experience. So we're breathing into our belly. And feeling the breath as it moves up, expanding the lower ribs and the diaphragm area. And then the area around the breasts and the back between the shoulder blades. And you don't really have to do anything, just bring some awareness there. And imagine that the breath is actually going there. And then under your collarbones. And with the exhale, the exhale goes down the arms and down the legs, out the top of the head. So that with each inhale, it starts like you're filling up a vase. So you fill up the belly, up the torso, expanding the whole body, becoming bigger. So just take about 4 long inhales and exhales. Notice the breath going in your sinuses, and opening up the whole area above your eyebrows and below your eyes, out to your ears, and feel the top of the mouth open. And that relaxes the back of your, where the skull at the back meets the spine. And just feel like your head is slightly being just, not actually moving, but just feel that space in there. Like this whole kind of body's opening up. The eyebrows are relaxing. The tongue is touching just behind the top teeth. The teeth are separated. You know, I noticed that I used to put pressure there when I did that. I actually used to press my tongue, and that put tension in my, so don't press, just let it gently sit there. The teeth are not touching at all. I also feel maybe there's like little balls of light under your armpits. It makes your arms slightly go out to the side. So you're not sitting squished like that, right? You're kind of, your shoulders are relaxing and your arms are slightly out to the side so that there's plenty of room for the chi to flow. You've seen the Buddhas, you know, their arms are out to the side. And be aware of the hips and the knees and the legs and the feet. So we have this kind of whole body awareness. And don't worry if you don't feel it, if you know this isn't working for you. Eventually, it all will eventually come to pass with practice. And we just imagine then that our body is hollow and made of light. So now we're going to focus on the organs, starting first with the liver. And I know I've said the body's hollow, made of light. So we just sort of focus that area. And if you don't know, the liver is on the right side. It's the largest organ in our body, and it's under the ribs. And it moves across to the right side. It's small. I mean, it moves across the left side. It's a little bit smaller on the left side. And yeah. So we're just sort of that area of the body. What we're going to do is we're going to breathe in light that's a teal color, a blue-green color, like the beautiful color of a shallow sea. And as we feel the whole body permeated with this color, and you know, if we're skillful meditators, we can also imagine that it's you know, when we exhale, it goes out to the sentient beings. But for the now, we don't have to worry about. We don't concern ourselves with that. So just breathing in this teal blue color, and as we breathe in, we kind of let our mental awareness focus on the feeling of kindness, like remembering kindness. That's with the exhale. And as we exhale, we imagine what's leaving with the exhale is anger. Now we're going to shift. When we're doing this, if you can breathe, but just make sure you're breathing into your lungs, into the sides, and opening up the area where the organs live. Because a lot of what happens for us is that because we kind of go, we like this all the time, there doesn't get enough chi to these organs. So when we sit and meditate, we want to open up. That's why we're breathing into the back and the side. So when you're doing this, see if you can feel that your ribs are actually expanding when you breathe. So next we focus on the spleen, which is a digestive organ, and spleen in the stomach on the left side, just also under the ribs. And the color is a coral color, the color of salmon, or the color of, it's kind of a orange, yellow, pinky color. It's a very healing color. So this time we're going to breathe in a sense of kind of openness and security, and exhaling worry, anxiety, the obsessive thinking. So the whole body's filled with this pinky orange color. And we remember the quality of secure, kind of openness and calmness, and of speedy mental thoughts, obsessive thoughts, worries. We're continually feeling the breath in the body, and we don't have to be, when we meditate, you don't have to be completely still. You can always be kind of letting your spine move with the breath. Just because Buddha statues are totally still, we don't have to be that way. And then we shift the attention to the heart. And this is the physical heart, not the heart chakra. And the color is bright pink, shocking pink. And as we breathe in joy, and we let go of depression, despondent, feeling down. And then we can shift to the kidneys. And the kidneys are, if you don't know, they're right in the back, just below the lower ribs. I'm going to go turn on the light. It's getting dark here. And the color is dark blue, like medicine Buddha blue. And as we breathe in, we breathe in safety and we let go of fear. Just imagine that blue light is penetrating right into the organ, into those kidneys. And every exhale, we're letting go of our fears, all kinds of fears. Our backs are getting stronger. And the last one is the lungs, and the color is silver. And when we inhale a sense of dignity, which is interesting that that's the word, dignity, because we exhale grief. And to think that dignity is the opposite of grief, and we can think about that more later, but I actually help me understand grieving. And that when we lose someone or something, that it's really, if we are, at least this has been my experience, if I'm just really present with that sense of grief and not try to push it away, but just sit there with it long enough to kind of like let the emotions settle and you just feel this intensity of the grief, there is a sense of some kind of, and dignity seems to be the word, there is sort of a grounding in the grief that heals us by allowing ourselves to feel that grief. Like there's a purpose of grief. It tends to actually bring us to the next phase of our life when we lose something important, which is why I think in traditional cultures, when someone lost a parent or a child or a partner, they were given a year, to grieve, or burning a house down. And I think right now the whole world is sort of grieving the pandemic and grieving the fires and the floods. There's just so much sadness, So this one is to find that kind of poignant strength inside the grief, which is there when we allow ourselves to grieve and put ourselves in a good situation, which would be in traditional culture. We weren't expected to go back to work right away. So let's just work with that one. So the lungs, the lungs come all the way up to the top of your body and they go all the way down. Lungs are huge. So we don't use very much of our lung capacity. So let's just try, when doing this, to actually feel the breath filling up the back and under the shoulder blades and under the collarbones and down the front, and just expanding the silver light coming through, feeling all of our grief, and bring this sense of dignity, which is somewhat related to this divine pride we talk about in Tantra. And we might have to grieve for ourselves, grieving of loss of opportunity, loss of childhood, loss. There's a lot of loss, not necessarily of other, but there can be inner loss as well. I guess it all is, really, isn't it? And then let's go back to the image of the Buddha in the space in front of us. And as we breathe in the qualities of the Buddha, as we did at the beginning, breathing in the refuge experience of comfort and ease and clarity and awareness, just to go back to that and just notice if there's any difference between how it felt at the beginning of the hour and now that we're at the end of the hour after doing this exercise. And there's no right, wrong, just with all of this, we're just noticing and paying attention. There's nothing to be good at or bad at or judge yourself. There's no judgment here. It's just experience. How is this today? Every day is different. And let's just notice that when I have a story that comes in my mind, when there's some kind of verbal blah, 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 particularly if there's something that seems to come up a lot for us. After doing this exercise, would it be a little bit more easier to drop the story and just feel how the energetic quality of that story feels in your body? Does it have a place in the body? Or just not like a specific, like I feel it in my liver or something, but just how does it have some kind of an energetic configuration of tension or something in your body? So focus on the wind quality rather than the verbal quality of that recurring thought or theme in your life, or just something that's coming to mind now. And if we're able to dispense with any judgment about it or doing anything to it, but just allowing it to, by breathing into the body, just maybe disperse that energy and let that energy go wherever it needs to go, or it just dissolves. As we focus on the breath and the hollow body and the blessing of Buddha coming in, spreading throughout all the channels, throughout all our bloodstream, all the areas of the body. And eventually sort of disappear in space like a cloud in the sky. And now we're almost out of time, so let's just relax this. And you might be wondering, how does this relate to Tantra? But what this is this a preparation? And it's helpful, just like meditating on death and impermanence is helpful at the beginning and the middle and the end, to think that this could be my very last day today. And so how will I walk this planet this day if I'm going to die in my sleep tonight? I mean, that's important, extremely important, but it's also important to work with this energy if we want to practice, just even to be well, actually, to feel good, to get us so that we can be healthy in this world today with all the stress and pollution and everything. So this is like, I would say it's a preparation for Tantra, and I hope it wasn't too long for you, but these are just ideas and things for you to explore, especially the beginning when I was talking about, even if you didn't particularly like this organ meditation, but the idea of beginning to become aware of our breathing and how we breathe. I can't tell you how important that is for practicing any meditation, but particularly deity yoga. So I think that's about it. That's all I wanted to share today. And please do let me know if you have any questions or comments. The other thing I wanted to share with you is the idea of if we are interested in having a regular meditation practice, if we don't already, that it's good to set aside a place in your room where you just do that, if you have a big enough space. Like I used to just sit in the corner of my bedroom. And I had a little table where I put up little things that, a picture of my teacher or something, that kind of is like a reserved place where you go and do these practices. And that's not 100% necessary, but it does help to set aside a space, because then when it's time, when you want to do your practice, there it is waiting for you, and you can see it in the morning. Oh, there's my place, And it's also sort of like your own little spot where nobody else goes, and it's just you, for you, your little laboratory to work on your mind and your body and your connection to yourself and to the world, and to create a space where we are welcome, we're not judgmental, everything goes, a space where we can be ourselves no matter what's going on. There's a loving presence there, where we're held by the Buddhas and held by our friends, and taught, incorporate the Dharma. So let's just end by a little bit more breathing, and just breathing in this non-judgmental care and love from the Buddhas, and share that with all sentient beings. And we can think, may all beings be healed. May all beings find their inner refuge of peace, tranquility. May all beings find joy, equanimity, happiness, freedom from suffering. And may we find solutions to the global challenges of today. And let's do a special prayer or sharing with all the children of the world who are very much aware of climate change and the pandemic, and the anxiety that some children are feeling today. Just imagine that we're touching all the children of the world, and all the animals that are being, destroyed by the fires in the United States, and the fires in Turkey and Greece, and where all the fires are happening and the floods are happening. There's a lot of animals that are suffering from that, so not just the people. Just imagine the whole world becoming a Buddha field, a pure land. Where everyone can come out of the closet and be their true selves, and not wish to harm, developing wisdom, skillful means, and all the skills. There's so many skills we need today, but not to be held back by our, what Lamiash used to call our self-pity mind, or our, all the things that block us from being who we are, truly, our great selves. So maybe we can read the dedication we have. Due to these virtues, may I quickly become a Guru Buddha and lead all transmigratory beings without exception to that state. May the precious supreme bodhicitta, not yet born, arise and grow, and may that arisen not decline but increase more and more. And then for His Holiness, maybe we do the prayers for His Holiness and Amazopa Rinpoche in Tibetan, because that's their language. We can think that they're hearing us because they are. Gangri Wawe Kowe Shinkam De Pandan De Wa Malu Jungwe Ne Chenre Zi Wang Tenzin Yatso Yi Shape Si Te Bardu Tin Yurchi Tongi Ni Jason Du Ju Pe Lam che che sao se gong chen ten roi shad na pe mo chen sen ga so la so adem so che dun lu sho. Tu shu zhang xin zhang gong ge wei ten zhen yang pe wei ku tu zo po ze cho su ku wei le mon tu zhu pa dong so du jie gong tu zhao ten shu. Wishing for all the great beings of this world, for all of their wishes to be fulfilled, for the long lives of all of our teachers, and for also Hita, for all the beings everywhere. There's so many people who are just working all the time in NGOs in different ways to help the world, and for all the people in Afghanistan and Syria. Let's just focus on that for a little bit. And the Palestinians, everyone everywhere, all the people who are refugees from climate and war, all the refugees of the world and victims of injustice, and it's just so much. All the people working with the pandemic, all the medical staff, the people who have the pandemic, all the hospitals, everywhere the hospitals are getting full again. We can just say a few Tara prayers. Om Tari Tu Tari Tu So Om Tari Tu Tari Tu So Om Tari Tu Tari Tu So Om Tari Tu Tari Tu. And then remembering that we didn't meditate on emptiness today. So thinking of the I that's doing this practice, who's been breathing and seeing colors, and but this I, if I look to find it, where is this I? This me, can I find it anywhere in my body, in my mind, apart from my body and mind? I can't find it, but still it exists. Because there is a body and a mind, there appears to be an agent. This agent is just manifesting moment to moment to moment, merely labeled on this breathing consciousness body. It appears to be truly existent, but actual fact is it very subtly merely labeled on this basis. And once we get a feeling for that, for ourselves, then it's true for everything, all phenomena. It's in that mantra, Om Sabhava Shuddha Sarvadhamma Sabhava Shuddha. All phenomena are empty. I am empty. The merit is empty. The sentient beings are empty. But still, they function and they appear. And we can hold both of these simultaneously. They can appear, they can function, but they're not they do not exist as they appear. So let's dedicate that we can all learn to experience that moment to moment so that we're never caught up in appearances and react with emotional disturbances and all these things that cause samsara. So let's just dedicate to the end of samsara for all sentient beings. And thank you so much for coming and paying attention, because we help everybody when we do this. It's one thing to remember that if I'm doing this because I'm connected to everyone else, just my meditation is benefiting the world. It's not a selfish thing at all to take care of yourself. You know, I mean, we clean our house, we brush our teeth, why not take care of our mind, right? So thank you all very much. And thank you to all the translators, Raphael, and recorders and recordings. And I really hope this was helpful to you. So let me know. So thank you, Lars, and thank you, Jeff and Nina and everybody. And we'll see you next week, where we're going to do some meditation and a little bit of talk about group devotion. So thank you, and see you next time. Bye, everybody. Bye,
Thank
Veronica.
you very much, Paula.
No,
Thank you to
Paul.
the translators. Thank you, all
Yeah.
recorders.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. That was a lovely meditation. Please remember to send it to me by mail.
Yeah,
so
I
can
will. And
distribute
everybody
it.
have a good time. You know, we need to like have fun. Let's go have fun, you know, if we can. We're the fortunate ones, you know, so go out and make some fun tonight, you know. Okay, ciao, ciao.
Thank you, Paula. Thank you so much. Much love.
Thank you.